A couple of weeks ago, Sonoff sent me their Sonoff POW Ring. It's a power monitoring device that can monitor the power consumption in your entire home. The way it monitors power consumption is a bit different from your usual power monitoring device plug. So keep watching and we'll unbox this, set it up and test it to see whether or not this is worth your money. I have to admit, when Sonoff first contacted me about using or looking at the POW Ring, I thought there was nothing special about it. It looks like a power monitoring device like any other normal power monitoring smart plug. But the more I thought about it and the more I thought about the use cases for it, I realized that this has the potential to not only power monitor a single device or a single power strip, it can actually monitor your entire power consumption of your house. So that got me thinking into a few use cases for this device, and it made me realize that there is more to it than just a smart plug with power monitoring capabilities. First, let's see what we get in the box when you first get the device. So this is obviously the box, and if you look around it, you'll see that it says it's compatible with Google Home and Alexa. And this is partly true. You can expose the relay inside of the device to third-party platforms like Google Home or Alexa, but it doesn't expose the power monitoring capabilities, which is a bit of a shame. And I suspect this is not so much Sonoff's fault as it is Google, Alexa, and SmartThings and Homey's fault that they don't support stuff like power monitoring in a way that is coherent with, this device. You can also see that they show some of the features that the device has when connected to the eWeLink app. And on the back, there's not too much interesting either, or on the sides of the box. So let's unbox this and see what we get with the device. Right, so this isn't the first time that I've unboxed this, so it might be a bit messy in here, but this is generally what it would look like when you first unbox your POW Ring. You get a manual, of course. You get the external Wi-Fi antenna right here. You get the transformer ring that you actually use to monitor the power that you use. You will clamp this around the live wire, whatever you want to measure the power consumption of. So there's no need to plug in a wire that you want to monitor to the device itself. You just use the clamp here. Then, of course, you have the device itself. So the device itself is, I know, a bit smaller than I would have guessed from the photos online, but it's not too small. It fits in the palm of your hand. On the top, you have the input for the clamp that you use to monitor the power with. You have a antenna coaxial that you screw the antenna onto. We'll do that in a moment. And on the bottom we have some screw terminals, as you can see, and more on them later. On the back we have the bracket that you use to mount the device itself. Let's see if I can get it off here. Yeah, feels like I'm gonna break it. Okay, there we go. So there are no mounting options on the device itself. You'll have to use the bracket that comes with it. The bracket is made out of plastic and is not too flimsy, but it is definitely the most flimsy thing about this device in general. So yeah, on the front you have the display, you have some LED indicators and a button to manually actuate the relay inside of it. The screw terminals here on the bottom here is where you'll actually plug in the device to power. So you remove the front cover from the device itself. And there you can see that it has a few screw terminals. There are 4 terminals in total. This device is powered by plugging it directly into mains power. So you have your live wire going in here and your neutral wire going in here. And that powers the device itself. And if all you want to do is power monitoring some gadgets or some devices in your house, these are all of the wires that you would need to connect to it. In the box itself, you also get 2 screws for the, I would guess, for the mounting bracket. Or wait, what are those for actually? I don't think they are, like, they're not big enough to be able to hold the mounting bracket itself. So, you know, I actually don't know what they're for. Does it say so in the manual? It does not. I have no idea then what they are for. So that is what you get in the box. Once you have it all unboxed, you can begin assembling the device. And when I say assembling, I don't mean like assemble it like a IKEA furniture, because you literally only have to screw in the Wi-Fi antenna to the top of the device and then plug in the transformer clamp, and then you're good to go. It only needs power and something to measure the power consumption of. So it's easy as that. Also, as a side note, it's nice to see that the wire between the POW ring and the clamp itself is fairly long, because that means that you will be able to put this wherever you want to and still be able to measure the power consumption, even if those 2 devices are far apart. So it's nice to see that. Also, I like the idea of a Wi-Fi antenna, because this is meant to be inside of your electrical box. And your electrical box is probably made out of metal. So by having an external antenna, you can mount this outside of your electrical box and the POW ring inside of your electrical box, but still have a great connection to your router. So this just shows you that Sonoff has put some thought into this device, and that's good to see. The POW ring is also DIN mountable, so you can mount it on your DIN rail if you have a DIN rail in your electrical box. So we've got the POW ring unboxed and we are ready to set it up. So how do you actually do that? Okay, first off, you have to pop off the cover here in the front. So removing that reveals the screw terminals in the back or at the bottom of the device. Here you can see the screw terminals are labeled NO, COM, L, and N. So the L and N are the live and neutral. These are the screw terminals that will actually power this device. I won't be connecting the NO and COM because I don't have any relays to control. So I'll only be connecting the live and neutral wires. The POW ring can only handle 30 volts at 2 amps when actuating the relay. So you'll need some kind of contactor inside of your electrical box. So keep that in mind. So I got this cheap extension cord here, which I stripped the end off of. So you'll have to unscrew the terminals and then connect the live and neutral respectively. And just to check whether or not I did it all right, I can tuck the wires and they stay in place. Then you can just put the front cover back on, like so. So when you plug the device in, it should turn on immediately. And you can see that by the display activating and the LED lights starting to light up. And it shows the current voltage and the current power consumption. Since I have not clamped the CT ring to anything yet, it's not measuring any power consumption. So before we do that, we'll have to add this device to the eWeLink app. But it's working and it shows that it's searching for Wi-Fi and it's doing what it's supposed to do so far. So I've opened up the eWeLink app here to my left, and to the right I have the device itself. It should be factory reset from the factory, but if it's not factory reset, you can hold down the button here to the left for approximately 5 seconds, and then it should enter pairing mode. I can see that it's blinking, so that means that it is already in pairing mode here. So to add it, I just go to the app, hit the add device button, make sure that I am on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, because this device only supports 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. No 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi is supported. Here on the screen, you'll have to enter your Wi-Fi credentials to add the device to the app. Once you've done that, you hit next, and the app will start searching for the device. And as you can see, it found the device pretty quickly. This is the third time that I'm adding this device to the app for testing purposes, and each time it has found the device as quickly as it has now. So if you hit the plus sign again, it will actually add it to your account and to the app. So I'm going to hit next. You can rename the device if you want to. I'm not going to. And then the POW Ring should show up in the app. You can see here on the home screen of the app that you get information about your power consumption, and you also get the option to either activate or deactivate the built-in relay. If you press the device, you get some additional information. From here, you can again activate or deactivate the relay, but you can also hit the read more button down here. And this is where you will get an overview of your power consumption. Because I reset the device, I don't have any graphs to show because they get deleted when you reset the device. But this is where it would show up. You can see how much power you have used today, or you can see how much power you've used the past month or the past year. And you can of course cycle through the days, the months, or the years, so you can get an overview of the power consumption on different days. You can also download an overview of your power consumption to a CSV file. If you hit the download button up on the right end of the screen, or the top right of the screen, you get the option to download the current overview of your power consumption. And then you can go and open up that CSV file in Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel or whatever program that you want to open it up in. And then you can analyze the data. Let's have a look at the options we get in the app here for the device. At the top, you get some basic information about the device itself. You get the name of the device, and you get the firmware version, and you can also see that you can change how the relay is shown in the app. By default, this is a slider, but you can also change it to be a switch on outlet or show up as a fan or refrigerator or whatever it is that you are currently switching with the relay. So in that way you can get a better overview of what you're actually controlling when you are activating the relay. But going back, you also get an overview of the different third-party integrations that you can connect this device to. There are a bunch of Chinese brands that I have no idea what are. I have never heard of them before. But you can also see that you have the option to add it to Alexa, to Google Home, or to SmartThings. Unfortunately, the only thing that is being exposed to these third-party smart home platforms is the relay that is built into the device. It doesn't expose your power consumption at all. And I think that's a bit of a shame that they weren't able to expose that data to these platforms. Now, an interesting thing about Home Assistant, you can add this device to your Home Assistant server, but if you want to do that, you'll have to go through the eWeLink cloud. So adding this device to Home Assistant require a cloud connection. You will first add it to the eWeLink app and then log into the eWeLink app within Home Assistant. But the benefit of that is that it exposes both the relay and the power monitoring capabilities of the device to your Home Assistant instance. Looking down at the options that you get beneath the third-party integrations, you can see that you can give it a different location within the app, or you can share it from this menu here. So if you didn't share it when you added the device, you can always share it later. You can create a scene with it, which is basically just like a scene within Philip 2 or a routine within SmartThings. You can also activate or deactivate LAN control. So this is an option that is on by default. And what it means is that when you're on the same Wi-Fi network as the POW Ring, the app will try to communicate with the POW Ring directly. So it won't go through the Sonoff servers. And this is in my opinion, a great feature. I would have liked to see a local control, so having this device be exposed to the network to third-party apps just like Home Assistant, so you wouldn't have to go through the cloud. But this local connection ensures that you have a fast response time by the or with the device via the app. Below that, you will see some threshold settings and an option to reset the consumption. So if you have a testing period where you want to see how much power your fridge is using, for example, you can set it up and monitor the fridge for a certain period of time. Then if you want to move the device, you can reset the power monitoring gate data from the device and start over again. All data collected by this device is stored locally. That means that your power consumption is not sent to the Sonoff servers, or it is sent to the Sonoff servers, but even if you don't have a connection to the internet at home, you can still get a reading of your power consumption if you have that LAN control enabled. And that's great that all of your data stays locally on the device itself. The inching settings is also kind of interesting because the inching settings enables you to choose for how long the relay should be turned on before it automatically shuts off again. If you have the relay connected to a contactor, for example, it only have to supply power to the contactor for a short amount of time to activate the contactor, and then it has to shut off again. So the inching option enables you to tell the device for how long it should supply that power. By default, it is turned off, but you can activate it and then it will either automatically switch the relay on or off. And you can tell it what it should do, either be automatically off or automatically on. The built-in relay of the POW Ring can only handle up to 30 volts and 2 amps. And that means that you can't control lights or fans directly. You'll have to connect it to something like a contactor, for example. But then underneath that, you can change your Wi-Fi settings and you again get some device information about the manufacturer and the model number and so on. It's also here that you can delete the device if you want to add it to a different app or if you want to set it up a different place. This device also supports having schedules or timers or something they call loop timers. Loop timers is basically just repeating timers, so a timer that repeats on certain days. You can of course always create a routine that does this as well, but you can also set it on the device itself. If you do set timers, this device executes these timers on device, which means that even though your internet goes down for some reason, these timers will still be executed as they are stored locally on the device. So that is the functions that you get with the eWeLink app. It's pretty easy to set up and it's pretty easy to connect. Connecting it to power is also no problem in my opinion. It's easy to do and it doesn't feel like something that you'll be able to pull out even if you tried. You'll have to pull pretty hard to pull out the wires. So let's see how I've tested this device and let's see how this device actually measures power and how easy it is to view in the app as well. Okay, so here I've plugged in the POW Ring and it has turned on and it is looking for something to measure the power consumption of. So the CT ring here is the thing that you'll have to clamp around whatever you want to measure. Here I've taken another extension cord and I've but I have separated the live and the neutral wire here. The brown wire is the live wire and that is the wire that we want to measure. You don't want to measure the neutral wire, but you want to measure the live wire. So what you do is that you take your CT ring here, and inside of it, it shows you which way to connect it. It has a little arrow that shows the current direction. So you clamp it around the live wire, you close the ring and snap it into place, and now it will measure whatever I plug into my outlet here. So at the moment I have nothing plugged in, but if I plug in my tablet that has the eWeLink app open, it should start to show that it is drawing some current or some power because it is now charging. So if I plug this in, the POW ring immediately shows that it is using 29.7 watts power. That means that this device is working. If we take a look in the app here, we can also see that the power consumption shows up in the app. So whatever I plug into the POW ring will show up on the POW ring itself and in the app. So here I have just like a cheap fan that I got a few years back that cost almost nothing. So if I plug it in, we can see that I am drawing some more power. And then of course, if I were to turn off the fan, this should drop to 0 almost immediately. Yeah, and it drops to 0 watts. And if I turn it on again, it starts using some more power. So the power measuring does indeed work. So the benefit of measuring power with a CT clamp instead of a power plug is twofold. First of all, you don't accidentally turn off the thing that you are connected to. There's no way for me to remotely activate or deactivate the fan that is connected to the POW ring. Second of all, having it measuring the device with a clamp around the live wire instead of going in between the live wire that a normal power monitoring smart plug would do means that even though something should go wrong with the POW ring and it goes out or it loses connection to the internet or it breaks, you will still have power to whatever you're measuring. So even though the POW ring for some reason were to shut off while measuring the power consumption of my fan, the fan wouldn't turn off, it would continue running. And if something like that happened in a smart plug, the smart plug would obviously cut power to the fan. So this ensures that things are still running as they should and things are still working even though the device fails in some way. And obviously, again, a smart plug is not something you can add to an electrical box. So a smart plug is something that you use to measure the power consumption of individual devices. For example, your refrigerator or your TV or your whatever you're plugging into it. This can measure more than just one device at a time, in fact, your entire house. Another feature that Sonoff is talking about when discussing the POW ring is the ability for you to track how much power you have generated if you have solar panels. This device would be added after the inverter that you have on your solar panels, and then you will be able to track the power generated by those solar panels. I don't have solar panels myself, and I don't know anyone who does. So I haven't been able to test the POW ring under those circumstances. So far, everything I've measured with the POW ring has a power consumption that is close to or equal to what the manufacturer is putting on the device. So I would have no problem with letting this device measure the power consumption of my entire home because I would trust the ratings that it is giving me in the app. So to summarize, first, the things I like about the POW ring. I think it's well built. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It's easy to install yourself. And the fact that it has an external antenna is a nice bonus, I think. It's also very easy to clamp the ring clamp around the live wire to monitor whatever you want to monitor. And lastly, I think it's a nice touch having a display out on the front. I don't think I'm going to use the display that much, but it's a nice bonus feature to have. The wires are also long enough that you can mount it anywhere you want and still measure whatever you want in most cases. What about the things I don't really like about this device? First of all, the mounting bracket on the back. It's okay, and I don't think it's gonna break if you take it off and put it on too much, but still, that's the only thing about this device that feels kind of clumsy. The mounting bracket is something that I fear will break if I use it too much. You probably won't be using the bracket too much. You'll probably only install it once and then put it there and forget it. But still, it feels kind of clumsy. The second thing is also the third-party integration. This uses Wi-Fi and it has to be connected to the eWeLink app or through the iHost. With the Matter 1.3 specifications, power monitoring is an option in the Matter specs. So I am hoping to see a future revision of this POW ring that includes Matter. I have no idea whether or not it's possible for them to update this to be Matter compatible, but I don't think they will. But I do hope to see Matter compatible POW rings in the future. So if you are considering buying the POW ring from Sonoff, I have put an affiliate link in the description. So I will get a small percentage of the purchase if you buy it from there. But that's all for now. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.